Hello everybody and welcome back to another new and noteworthy mod review. Today we're going to take a look at Bichler Farm. Now this is not your everyday building pack. This is quite interesting, and that's why I wanted to bring it to you here as a new and noteworthy video, because what you see here in front of you is actually 7 or 8 different components all placed separately that have managed to form a complete cohesive farm. And much to my surprise, actually placing these things is not nearly as hard as one might imagine. But before we get into that, this video is brought to you by Optimus. Thank you for being a farm baron. So this mod can be found over at the farmingsimulator.com website or the in-game mod hub. It is available for all platforms and pretty much can be used on any map. Now I'm here on Felsburn because that is one where the photos on the website show it being used, and I just wanted to replicate that and just make sure you could do it, because we all know that you can run into problems here on Felsburn with these curbs and other things that are kind of in the ground here at the main farm. You get into these, you can't place it here, you can't change the terrain because of those things. And I thought, you know what, if I could place it here without place anywhere or any other type of a mod that is going to help me basically place things, then I can probably place this anywhere. So let's get into the build process and see how it all comes together. So we are on a fresh save on Felsburn. Just bought the main farm plot. That is the only farm plot we own. You can see that right there. And the placeable mod is the only mod that's activated. You can see I have the wonderful little round circle that is right in the middle of the screen. I can't stand that thing. But I didn't activate anything else because I wanted to make sure that the placeable experience was going to be a pleasurable experience, dare I say that, for anyone involved. Now let's see and look at all of these components. So under placeables, under animal pens, we have a chicken coop for $5,000, holds 100 chickens. Then we have a cow shed. It holds 50 cows for $40,000. Then we have a silage bunker, $15,000. And a storage silo holds 200,000 liters of your traditional grain products for $5,000. We have a shed for $5,000. We have the farm ground, which is kind of the basis of this whole thing and really will help you line everything up. Bernie SCS did a really good job with this mod, and I really wanted to show it off on a new and noteworthy. That's what we're doing. Apparently in the description, he says that it sounds like his initial plan was to offer one massive placeable that did everything, but it sounds like there were maybe too many polygons in that single sole placeable. So he had to carve it up, and I think he did a really good job of carving it up and making it not so hard to put back together. And then we have the farmhouse for $50,000. So it all starts with the farm ground. That's going to be the first thing we're going to place. And to orient you a little bit, let's go over here. So let's get this green. Okay. So to orient you a little bit, we have the big tree, and we can rotate this one of 4 ways. So directly to the right of the big tree, you can see a rectangle that is basically outlined by stuff. Then you can see right in front of that another smaller rectangle. Okay, that is the entrance of the farm. Okay, so the front of the farmhouse is pointed right now to the right. If I rotate this once more, now the front of the farmhouse is orientated towards the street. And that's how I want to put this all down. So let's move this up here and try to get it to a point where it's all green. There we go. And now that we're all green, let's go ahead and just, boom, put it down. And there we go. So this has now laid the groundwork for us to put everything else in place. And the reason that we have to put this down first is, one, none of the buildings have really floors. So this is what we're going to use as the kind of the floor for a lot of these things. And two, it's going to help us line things up with respect to where things go, because we have fences here. There's going to be a gate that goes between these two fences. There's going to be a big fence that's going to come around the front of the land here. There's going to be some porch steps that are going to go right here, and these black lines are going to help us line things up. So now that we have the farm ground down, we want to put down the farmhouse. So we get a farmhouse, and you can see the farmhouse includes the front fence and gate, as well as the farmhouse and the front steps. So let's get this rotated. Let's rotate our camera around so we can see what the heck's going on. And you can see it conveniently says farmhouse right there on the ground. So we want to line this up so it's lined up with the steps. Lined up with the black lines. And if we scroll out a little bit, we'll also see that it's lined up then with the entrance. Okay. So we want to put it right there. And now if we take a look here, we can see we have our sleep trigger. We have our gates lined up so well. And we're ready to move on to the next building block. And that is the cow barn, which will go directly behind the farmhouse. So let's zoom on out here and we'll see. Let's rotate this around a little bit. You're going to see that we have right down here, I wish I could point to it, but we've got a fence down here in the lower part of the screen. Over towards our left, we have another fence. And then we have a slurry point over here. And what we need to do is we need to line up some key items. So we need to line up the manure wall right here. We need to line that fence up with this fence post. Okay. Which then also lines up the side of the building with the wood pile. And it lines up the edge of the building with the farmhouse. And then as a result, other things are lined up also, like this fence post over here in the back, the slurry pit over there to the right also. So let's just zoom on in, and we're going to try to key off of this fence. You get the fence post lined up like that. And if that's lined up, then everything else should be lined up. So let's go ahead and put it down. And there we go. So overall, We have our cow barn now lined up with the track marks on the ground. We have it lined up with the manure elevator and the manure pile. And we have it lined up with our fence posts here. So, aiding with the black lines and several other key things to kind of key off of, we can place it a lot easier. The next thing we're going to place is going to be our farm shed. And our farm shed is going to go over here. So we're going to rotate our farm shed. And once again, we have these lines. We just want to line up kind of the foundation of the building with those lines. You can rotate it around however you want. Just like so. There, I was a little off there because we can see our lines over on the other side. And once we think we're pretty much lined up, we just put the building down. Head over here. There we have our shed. Right next to our flowers. Lined up right up against the side of our slurry pit. We didn't encroach on our building over here at all, so there you go. Now the next thing we're going to put down is our chicken coop. And the chicken coop is going to go over here. So the chicken coop, we have a few things also to key off of. We have the chain link fence is going to fit here, kind of snug into that fenced area. We have also the big barn shed area is going to line up with these black lines like so. And if we rotate this whole thing around, our garage, or a little bit of a garage, is going to line up right there. This grassy area between those is where our stairs are going to line up. So, you zoom out. Get things lined up and put it down. So then we have our chicken coop. Tucked right in here by the fence. Fence goes right up to the building. We have our food trough. Inside here we have our chicken area and our egg. Got a little bit of a garage here. We can go upstairs to a little bit of a loft. Then we have a big area for vehicle storage, whatnot underneath. The next thing we're going to put down is going to be our grain silo. And the grain silo is going to go over here. And there's a few things to key off of with the grain silo. Let's rotate it. But most notably, we have the center post and this little black dot. There's also little dots over here to represent where some of these other posts are to go. We're going to try to basically place that center post here on this black dot as best we can. Like that. So we're off by a wee little bit, it looks like. But at any rate, there we have our black dot. We have our silo dump station. Lines up fairly well with the corner there. So we have our dump station there. Our fill pipe is going to be located right around this area. And then the last thing we're going to put down is going to be our manure pile. Or not our manure pile, our slurry pit. Not our slurry pit, oh my gosh, our silage pit. That's going to go right here. Rotate that around. Line it up with the walls. And there you go. So we haven't talked about the cows, so let's talk about the cows here. We've got our cow buy point. Go ahead and get some. We have our food trigger right here. In our courtyard, we have the milk trigger. And if we go inside this, we have kind of our dairy area. And we can go inside our cow barn proper. This will take us out to this side. We have our water trough and food, or water and straw, sorry, right here. This will take us again to the inside courtyard. And then we have our manure pile right there. Our silage pit that we put down. Located right there with trigger. There's our cows. Big shed. Just go ahead and get a chicken. Since we bought a cow. There's our chicken. And there we go. We have just built our own farm here. That is Bichler Farm by Bernie SCS. Kind of a build your own farm Lego style is kind of how I put it in the thumbnail. What do y'all think? I kind of like this idea. I like how we have a complete and cohesive placeable unit. We've seen kind of themed placeable packs before. Really free form. You get some buildings and go at it. Build the farm you want. This I like because it's kind of like, well, if you don't have the creativity or you're really not sure how you might lay the farm out, you've got this. You can just put down the base, and then everything just kind of falls into place once you put the base down. So I kind of like this idea because sometimes you can get a little apprehensive and a little stressed out as to where various things might be going. You're not really sure. Should I put the building here? Should I put the building there? Well, you know what? You plop this down and things are just kind of where they need to go to begin with. So let me know what you think in the comments of this particular mod. Have you tried building it yourself? And did you run into any issues? Did you find it easy? Maybe did you find this video helpful in helping you figure out where particular things went, or maybe what things to key off of in order to place things in the proper locations. And until next time, happy farming.